Hello, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about Epic Battles Revolution. Hopefully you've seen my other videos where I have been building and painting some British stuff. I didn't want to do an unboxing where I pulled out the sprues and looked at the sprues and kind of showed off. I wanted to engage with it and understand it before I started talking about the details. And at first I was a little bit confused about the sprues. So what I'm going to do in this video is look at the sprues, talk about what you get on it, and help you understand sprue composition and what you might need for your force. So the first sprue, this is Army 1.1 is what it's called on the sprue. And on this sprue, it's usable for British and Continental. Primarily Continental, but the cannon is the only place you get the cannon. The heads for the cannon, they're actually Irish artillery heads, I believe. But later on in the campaign, they're going to swap out their helmets for hats. On the sprue, you're getting 5 militia strips, and they're the ones at the top. So they're the ones where everybody looks like they're wearing different sorts of clothing, because they are different heads like stocking caps and stuff like that. Now, down on the bottom, you are getting 5 line troops and a command stand. The command stand comes with an optional standard bearer to turn them into a British command stand with 2 standards, or Continental with just 1. Now, I'm going to be doing 3 sprues, 3 stands, 3 sprues, 3 stands per regiment. So with this will give me 1 infantry regiment and most of our militia regiment. More on later. This is the second major sprue. So this is British Army labelled 1.2. And on this, you're getting 2 mounted officers, 5 light infantry, which you can see up in the top right there. There's going to be 8 sprues here, and they're going to have mainly the sort of tricorn hats, but some of the hats have been swapped out. Now, on campaign, the British Army went over to the Americas and weren't as well supplied as it could have been. In fact, any army on campaign, especially at this period, is going to look a bit ragged. One thing I know is if you're going to be out in the weather at all times, having a hat, regardless of what it looks like, is essential. Keeps your rain off your face, sun off your face. So yeah, so whilst I have picked the ones with pristine tricorns for the first 2 regiments of British, I'm actually going to focus the more mixed up headdresses for my British and maybe look a bit more at the pristine tricorns for my Continental troops. The other thing you get on here is a militia command. So with the previous sprue, we're having 5 militia strips, and this one gives me the 6, which is the 3 I'd need. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more strips of infantry with a spare sprue left over. Now the boxes, the British box and the Continental box, are going to have these sprues in it, different combinations. I don't know the combinations just yet because I just got a big box. And I must admit, I jumped in on this sprue thinking it was British sprue. Well, it is a British sprue, and started building it, and then got a bit confused by that militia command at the top. Took me a bit to, once I started cutting out some Americans, I worked out what was going on. And that's the British kind of the ideal contents out of a box there. So as you can see there, you've got, for my methodology, I'm going to have 2 3-man regiments, a militia regiment, and a spare strip. Often forces were thrown together, companies from here and from there. So you'd have maybe have a company without standards. That's probably what I'm going to go for. 4 strips will be a large regiment, 3 strips for a standard regiment, 2 for a small, 1 for a tiny. And just a point of note there, you've only got 2 of the British Army 1.2 sprues, hence the 10 light infantry, and 1 sprue of the 1.1, hence the 1 cannon. Now, this sprue here, this is a Continental sprue. So the Continental Army is going to have some of these sprues and I think Army 1.1 sprues in it. So you can see what we're getting here. There's 4 riflemen, 3 mounted figures. One's an officer and 1 each of the cavalry types. Then you're going to get 3 militia sprues and a militia command. But the militia, you're going to get loads of extra militia from Army 1.1 box. So you're going to get something that looks like this. So you're going to get at least 4 of those wee sprues, and I think 1 of the Army 1.1 sprues in the box. Now they've got 4 cavalry on each base there. That's going to be my aim for the American Revolution. Cavalry, there wasn't much of it, and tended to fight in a slightly different method to how it would on European battlefields. Now, you notice I've not mentioned any British cavalry because that's because they come on the Hessian frame, which is labelled Hessians and British. So on this, you've got 4 Hessian line, and that's the 4 at the top with sort of bicorns and a command unit there. Underneath them, you've got 2 Hessian Grenadier strips, and you'll see the one with the gap, so that can either be command, stand, or regular troops. Underneath those, you've got the British Grenadiers, and again, same sort of thing as the Hessian Grenadiers. They've got a gap where you can put a command, stand, or regular troops. The Grenadiers were deployed from regiments. Every regiment would have regular line companies, a light company, and a grenadier company. Often, all the grenadier companies were taken out of regiments, battalions, and put together to form a grenadier formation. So that's why they don't have standards can operate. Also on this sprue is 5 First Nations Indians, 5 Hessian Jaegers, and the British cavalry. You have 2 commanders, 2 cavalry there, sort of dragoons. So with this sprue, you're going to be making this. So obviously you've got a spare Hessian line strip, you've got 3 grenadiers, both Hessian and British, you've got your Jaegers, and you've got your First Nations Indians. Now with this, you'd only get 3 sprues in it, so you only get 3 cavalry. So if you're wanting to not buy the starter set of some description, you're probably going to have some solution for British cavalry. Now, Warlord have also announced, and I've got my order in for these, Highlanders. So, British Highlanders, certainly one of the campaigns I'm most interested in, which is the Carolinas. The 71st fought in the Carolinas, certainly at the Battle of Cowpens. So again, I've got these guys paint up. You quite like the fact you've got your light infantry as well as your regular infantry. And the next release that Warlord has on pre-order right now is these guys, the British Guards. Now, the British Guards use in North America, really interesting. I think they took men out of the existing guards, so each company 12 men went from each company to form new guards units for North America. But they've also got sort of different types of hats, so they could represent regular line units with different hats and cut down uniforms for fighting certainly in the Carolinas as well. And again, you've got some light infantry there, so it's essentially getting 2 regiments of guards there. In another one of my videos, I'm going to talk a bit more in detail about uniforms. As I've been painting these models, I've been delving into uniforms, what can be what. looking at uniform guides, especially since there's a lot of different militias, loyalist troops, loyalist regiments, loyalist militias. Certainly, Battle Cowpens, Tarleton's force is quite a polyglot force of formations from regular infantry, loyalist militias, loyalist regiments, legions. So yeah, I'm going to talk a bit about uniforms, what we can do with it as well. Probably by the end of next week, so this will be going out 13th of July, so next week, hope to have Tarleton's Force finished, and I'll talk about it in a video and the uniform choices I made. So I hope that's been useful. Certainly getting into the sprues, looking at the sprues and working out what's on it helped me. I bought the big box, just delved into some sprues and was puzzled until I started working out the other sprues. Hopefully next week I'll have some Americans painted as well, some Continentals. But anyway, that's me finished talking for now. I hope you're having a great time, especially if you've been doing stuff with this box set. Let me know how you're getting on, and I look forward to chatting to you into another video. Bye for now. Goodbye.